No, that's just one of those things. I think it's in our charter.
Now you're my son.
Okay, and Josh, are we good to go?
Yep, we're all set.
All right, welcome everyone. Let's get started to the second night of budget presentation for the Lincolnville Select Board with the Budget Committee. Do we need to run around and do introductions again, or we've just got one new face, I think.
Lita.
Hi, thank you for coming. And so this isn't really my show. I'm going to let David orchestrate tonight's schedule of events. And so I think I'll hand it over to the MC.
Ooh. Welcome back, everyone. And Lita, welcome. We exchanged one budget committee member for a different budget committee member. It's all good. Fortunately for all of us, I won't talk as much tonight as I did last night because we have a lot of guests, individuals with requests and committees. And so we're going to start on page 18. We're still working from the draft of February 13th, 2023 in the lower left. So we'll make sure once again we're all on the same page. We're going to jump around a little bit tonight instead of going completely in order like we did last night, just to accommodate some people's schedules and what seemed to make it flow a little better. First up is the Lakes and Ponds Committee. Gary Gulasian is the chair of the committee and drew the short straw and is here to explain the request of the Lakes and Ponds Committee. It's all you, Gary.
Thanks, David. Good to see you all. When I reviewed what's in your book now that I sent in to Kayla a couple of weeks ago, there were a couple of typos in this, and I just want to make one correction. At the beginning of the second paragraph, where it says $580, that should read $750, and the numbers below in the paragraph do support that $750 number. But this year we're requesting $900. Last year we requested $850. The reason for the increase is an increase in the cost of doing sampling for E. coli. We don't know exactly what it's going to be, but I called the Rockland Water and Sanitation Department that does the E. coli monitoring for us, and they say it's going up. They're not quite sure how much, but it's one of these inflationary increases that we're seeing. That $750 buys samples to do E. coli monitoring. And our intent is that if we do see exceedances of the E. coli values at Breezemere, at the swimming area, that we would want to follow up to see what might have caused it. And we're synchronizing this with the monitoring that Lake McGuintycook Watershed Association does. I think they monitor on Wednesdays, and it turns out high. They do it again on Thursday to see if it's still high. And then if it isn't high, there's no posting that's made, but if it is, there is. And what we want to do is to be able to go down on that Thursday, it was high on the first day, to do monitoring, to do some source track down, to go up some of the tributaries and try to find out where those elevated values might be coming from. And I think there really is a lot at stake now that we've got the boat club using it and people swimming at the beach. I think it's good to be able to track down what's going on. It's turned out over the last several years, we haven't used any of this money because for 3 of those years, there was a drought, and you usually end up getting higher values when you get more rainfall. The rest of the $900 is $150 to continue to support our Phragmites removal project, and that would be used for any tools that were necessary, tarps, signage, that kind of thing. We'll only use it if we need it. And also, the way things have worked out in the past, if it turns out that we haven't spent the money, say for the E. coli testing, it's been available for other things. For example, at the select board meeting on Monday, you approved the letter that's going out. Last time the letter went out, I think it cost about $450 or so to do the mailings and to copy the brochure and that kind of thing. So this money could be used for that kind of thing, and I think that that's going to happen. For our budget for this past year was when we didn't do the E. coli monitoring. There's a pot of money that will be there to pay for getting that out. I also noted a couple things toward the end of things that might come up during the year. One of the things that's gone on with the Phragmites project is we've gone in there and cut down the Phragmites. We found lots of pieces of old scrap metal, some things that are dangerous there on town property. There are waste tires that are there as well. So if there are ways that we can get some of that removed appropriately, and we'll make a presentation to the board before we go ahead with a project like that there should be some money in reserve potentially to do that kind of thing if we don't do it for the E. coli, use it for the E. coli testing.
Anyone have
Questions?
questions for lakes and ponds? Oh, John.
Yeah, Gary, so I was reading as you were talking too. So if you see an elevated level of E. coli at the beach, then you said you'd go sample tributaries to see if there's a higher concentration someplace. So how many tributaries are there to the pond?
There are a couple of tributaries that have been problems at different points. One is the tributary that comes in under the Drake Store culvert right there on 52.
Yeah.
And that's a separate sampling area that isn't a swim beach area, but it very often has elevated levels. One of the things that's difficult with that particular site is that it could be caused by the geese, for example, or other wildlife in the area. So we go up and take a look at doing sampling where there might be septic tanks that could potentially be a problem, or further up where the beaver dam is, and that might identify it more as a wildlife source. There's also another tributary that comes in near where Leslie DeVoe's house is, which is just a little ways down Norton Pond Road on the left, and that's been problematic in the past because of a leaking septic tank on a property nearby. And there are other small tributaries along the shore as well. But I think the ones that would impact Breezemere are probably those two, the Drake's Culvert.
So if you find evidence for a leaky septic system, is there anything the town can do to tell the owner you
Oh,
need
yes.
to fix? Okay, good.
And that has happened before.
Yes, it has. Yeah, the code enforcement officer was our plumbing inspector. The state wastewater disposal plumbing code allows them great authority in terms of trying to address what is potentially a public health hazard, to the point where if we don't get cooperation, the law actually allows the municipal officers to have a septic system installed and then issue a special tax against that property.
Wow.
And we've actually done that once.
Okay.
Not that with it, believe it or not, with the homeowner's cooperation, because the homeowner didn't have money to shell out at the instant, and we could take care of the health hazard and issue them a bill, which they then have obligations to pay.
Yeah, okay.
Any other questions for Gary? Can we tell him he can run?
And Kayla, I'll get you a corrected copy.
Okay.
That's okay.
Thank you. Gary, thank you as always for such a comprehensive presentation too. It's appreciated.
Yep. Been seeing you a lot lately.
No one's complaining.
Well, and we've been getting some good coverage too.
Yeah.
In the paper with Jim's articles.
Yeah,
It's
good.
good just to get that story out there. That's probably as important as the letters themselves.
Sure.
Reading about it, so get on the front page of the paper, it's a
Yeah,
good thing.
They don't-
broadcast.
They
Yeah.
don't want to see their own float on the front picture.
Thank you so much, Gary.
Thank you, Gary.
Thanks,
Gary.
for the
Take care.
time you put in. I heard this a couple times in a week like this, but you're
See you later.
Thanks.
See you later.
Mr. Gary. Yeah, you.
Okay. You got some?
We're gonna flip back a page to page 17, I believe. And Rosie Gary's gonna be a multiple visitor with these folks tonight, but the first thing up on his agenda is Veterans Park Maintenance. Go.
All right. So, one of the things that we want to do is, which I've talked with both David and Kate, we want to move the flower account from the Memorial Day into this account, because it's really what that's for, is the flowers for around the monument and stuff. So we're gonna remove that from the Memorial Day and put it over here on the Veterans Park. And the maintenance to do the edging on the walkways and around the set where you sit down, and also trimming of the hedges that's there, and other work. I've requested for $1,500 for the Veterans Park this year, because we, $1,350 of that would be for our general maintenance, and then $150 would be for the flowers for Memorial Day.
Any questions from Mr. Gary regarding Veterans Park?
Well, this might be a good example of pointing out how you haven't expended any of your funds from last year, because you'll be spending them all in the springtime.
That's right, that's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And we need to also, the back of the
On a roll.
honor roll, that has been neglected for the last couple of years. That needs to be restained or whatever, and so that's going to eat up a bunch of money for that too, so just one.
So obviously, this is a piece of infrastructure that needs to be maintained on a yearly basis
Yes.
for a number of reasons.
Yes,
And it is pretty much, that's the first thing you see coming into the center,
yes.
basically. Was there a thought of, or is there a thought of fundraising for perpetual care? In addition to what maybe contributed,
To the Veterans Park?
correct?
Um,
Was there any consideration of that?
There has not been, other than we had so many in the beginning.
Yeah.
Most of that was totally funded from outside sources of the town. The town donated the land, and we pretty much raised all the money to get set the thing in motion and keep up with it.
Yeah.
And the other thing we do is, that's included in, this is like, we have a spare right now, but flag, always keeping the flag, because believe it or not, that wind blows off that pond continually, and the flags last about, maybe if we're lucky, maybe 13 months, if we're lucky. So there is a replacement there on that, and also the batteries to have it illuminated, which aren't very expensive, but it's still, we need to keep after that.
Okay.
I have a question since I'm relatively new to here. Where is Veterans Park?
Do you know where Breezemere Park is?
Yes.
Just back this way, on the same side of the road, is the grass area with a wooden wall
Okay.
with names. Right between the library and the
Park.
park.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
I just have a question. So
Sure.
the batteries for the light, where
They're
are they?
solar, they get it, it's a solar thing, comes on and off,
Yeah,
but the batteries do go down after a
The
while. We've
battery-
replaced them once.
is it on like ground level?
No, it's up on the pole, on the top of the
On the
pole.
pole.
Yeah.
So you have to go up, you have to climb the pole.
Well, you have to have, it takes about 3 people, and you have to pull the pole up out of the ground and lay it down, because
Oh, okay.
at some point in time, we're gonna replace the flagpole, but not right now. But
Yeah.
it needs to be replaced, because even though that was donated, and I mean, it was brand new, it has some malfunction issues as far as, you used to be able to telescope it down by pushing the buttons. And, but the ice got to it and ruined the buttons, they destroyed them. So now, David come down and we lifted it up out of the ground and set it down, but we've done it once since
I've done it once that way.
the public works, so they last quite a while.
Yeah, okay, interesting.
Any other questions regarding Veterans Park?
Thank you so much, Rosie.
Take a breather,
Yep.
Thank you, Rosie.
because you're up not too long from now, but
Don't go too far.
Diane's maybe coming too. Is she coming? You don't know.
I have no clue.
Regardless.
Wait a minute. Oh my goodness.
You're taking a break.
No, I know.
Okay. So next on our list, under boards and committees, is the Broadband/Digital Equity Committee, and select person Gerritsen is on the hot seat.
Great. So in December, the Lincolnville Broadband Committee presented the Digital Equity and Digital Inclusion Plan. It has a lot of components. We're hoping the majority of the funds come from public and private grants, but the remainder, we're hoping the town will fund to the tune of $13,940. If you look on page 19, there's a breakdown of what that looks like. First part, affordable broadband installation benefit. This would be used to help offset the cost for broadband installations for low-income people in Lincolnville, up to 100 households. The second would be a public awareness campaign, and so this would be this is for an estimated 1,402 people. This would pay for stamps, flyers, and this would help to advertise to people that they can sign up for the affordable connectivity program that can save them $30 a month off of their bill. And then the final part are FCC affordable connectivity program presentations. And this would be to give presentations in town to explain to people how to sign up for this program. It's a no-brainer for people with low income to save $30 a month on their bill forever. And so we felt as a committee that this was a really important component of the plan to implement. Are there any questions?
Yeah, so the 13,940, that's just the town contribution portion?
Yeah, that would be, yeah.
And how much is the remaining portion that you're getting monies from elsewhere?
Well, we don't have those monies. The hope is that a future committee, a digital equity committee, which is yet to be formed, would find ways to get public and private grants, and that remainder is $19,161. That's separate from the ask for the town.
Say that again one more time, Josh.
Yep, $19,161.
And that that money, 19,160, that will keep the.
Sorry, hold on, I'm doing math wrong.
I'm sorry.
Let me subtract these two numbers. That's actually the total for everything. So the public and private grants. 17,757.
17,757.
I'm sorry, hold on one second. I didn't prepare this part because it's not part of the ask, but I think it is 19,161.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if that $19,161 came into the town, would that ensure the affordable connectivity, $30 in continuing? So it continues. Is that what the 19 is for?
No, the 19,000 that includes purchasing tablets that could be rented out to people, community hotspots, and hiring a community advocate / digital navigator.
Okay, gotcha.
Different components of the plan.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
On the installation benefit, $100 per household, that is, I'm understanding, is part to offset part of the cost of getting it installed active. Do you know what part of how much the total cost of that is per household?
I think it is actually $100 now.
It is, okay.
I believe it used to be $150 or more than that, but I believe it has dropped to
Pretty much
$100.
covers the setup.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I think it was 150 for a certain amount, for a certain
250.
distance. Right, then after that, then it's so much per foot.
Yeah. So if a low-income resident had a driveway that was longer than, I think, 250 feet, then they would have to pay on top of this fee.
Any other questions or anything else you want to?
I think I will have more questions. I just don't know how to ask them just yet. So
Okay.
I won't.
So I have another question.
Yeah.
So, eventually you would hope to meet the needs of most households
All households.
that, especially those that need this, aid. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, so there'll be a ramp up and then it should flatten out. You wouldn't need a lot of these monies in perpetuity. It's just you're addressing the problem right now, and everybody can finally get hooked up, and then the need for money would drop back down again.
That's right.
Right.
Once you're hooked up, the installation is, it's a one-time fee.
Yeah.
And once you're signed up for the Affordable Connectivity Program, you're all set.
Mhm.
That's for people that are currently here. When new residents come in, they can sign up for it as well. But we don't see this being a perpetual program.
Yeah.
So really get everyone covered and aware of the ACP program, and then this has done its job, and we don't have to spend this money again.
Any
That's the
estimate on what the total would sum up to over time until you plateau?
I don't know. The 100 households, that could really cover. I mean, quite a few residents here have fiber already connected, and you would imagine that not everyone is going to know about this program or ask for it from the town. So this could be, it's possible we wouldn't even have 100 households signing up for it, and then in that case, that would be all we would fund it for.
Okay.
Any others regarding this? Seeing none, I'm going to jump back to the top of page 18, which is the boards and committees, and do the ones that we don't have people coming in for.
Okay.
Thanks.
Board of Selectmen. There are Board of Selectmen. There we go again. Sorry, it'd take me about a lifetime to address them as select board. We have 5 select board members. Each is compensated at a grand total of $1,300 a year. On top of that, we have FICA and Medicare contributions that we're required to pay. And then we have some money called the Selectmen's Fund for training, or if they need something beyond the norm. It's been at $1,300 for a couple of 5 years probably now.
Very long time.
Yeah.
And you would know.
And it was a massive jump from, I think,
1,200.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which that was also for a very long time. I think it worked out to about -2 cents an hour. And we're happy to do it.
There you go. So that explains the Selectmen Conservation Commission hasn't sought an appropriation. They're looking to have their monies carried forward from year to year, which we, as of the end of January, at the bottom of page 19, there was a little over $4,000 in their account. One of the reasons they look to have that carried forward from year to year is initially that a lot of that money was actually fundraised for a project they did a long time ago.
Okay.
And it didn't seem appropriate to take monies that the Conservation Commission had went out and raised and then roll it into, undesignated fund and used it for some other purpose. If people donated it for conservation purposes, it seemed appropriate to leave it there. Planning board, we provide the planning board with opportunities for professional development, training through, typically through the Maine Municipal Association, but oftentimes other programs come up. They have a recording secretary. They're a quasi-judicial board, and she takes minutes and whatnot at the meetings. We pay her an hourly wage for that, and Social Security or FICA and Medicare contribution as well. And then supplies if they need anything to run their meetings or do their business. Lakes and ponds, Gary talked about. Broadband and digital equity, select person Garrettson talked about, and the comprehensive plan is listed there only because they got money last year. So are there questions on other boards and committees, or any boards and committees? I see Mike's got a question.
Yeah, well, I was just wondering whether, the planning board with the 23% increase, is that pretty much the recording secretary?
Yeah, that's kind of a little bit of a roll of the dice, depending on how many hours she works based on who applies that needs to go to the planning board, which we don't really know. We expended $781 through the half year, and in total for the planning board, and they seem to be doing just a slight increase in
Okay.
time. It's nice to have money to pay the people that you have been working for you. Any other questions regarding that? If not, we're going to turn the page to page 20 on municipal support, and I'm going to go wake up the 2 people that are huddling in the other room. Tell them to back up, both of you. Each of you can grab a seat by a microphone so people at home or online or whatever can hear you in perpetuity. Diane O'Brien, Rosie Gary, at this point representing the Lincolnville Historical Society, which is the first one on municipal support, and I'll turn the table over to the 2 of you to talk.
Well, you may know that we have been busy raising money, and we have raised enough money to fix the building. we feel at this point we have enough. It's, I don't know how many of you have been in to see it, but I invite anybody to stop in. If you ever see any vehicles parked in parking lot, just coming through the mud and take a look at what we've done. We hope to be ready to open by June, but that's optimistic. But meanwhile, things are really happening. But that's the building itself. We're here about the Historical Society. And I would say that we're as active as we've ever been since I've been involved. I think we've got 6 to 8 volunteers who come in every Friday morning and work. We always welcome others to come. Everybody has a project of their own that they're working on. But basically, we're all working towards the same goal, which is to digitize the collection. We're basically preserving a lot of paper, photographs, diaries, letters, all kinds of documents, which we store in cardboard boxes in a 170-year-old building. So although we certainly want our building to survive much longer, we want the actual historical record, the archive itself, to be on the cloud. So that's what we're working on, and we appreciate the town's support, because that's a separate, that's not nearly as healthy a bank account as is the building itself, and we appreciate that. We're asking $1,500 this year. And any questions?
Yeah, but I forgot it, but I wanted to.
Television ad.
Oh, yeah, on the digitization,
Yeah.
like, how far are you through all that body of material? And is there a light at the end of the tunnel?
No,
No?
nobody. We got a new program this year, or maybe it was last year. Heather Moran came and spoke with us, and she works at the State Archives. She's president of the Camden Historical Society. Heather came and gave us some good advice about how we ought to proceed. This was maybe a year and a half ago. So we have a new program called Catalog IT, and it's an app, and it's web-based, and it's easy to use, and anybody can search it from home, which is cool. So we didn't have that before. We had a program that was just didn't work that way. So we're just working away. It's slow, as you can imagine. We have started scanning as much of what we have. We have these wonderful big ledger books, that thick, and we've got piles of them, and they're old. Well, they're not any good just sitting there, and so we're trying to scan those. We have a little, we can have a stand and put your phone up here, and document here, and just click, 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 and you just scan them away, and then upload them to Catalog It. So that's one of the things we're doing. We just plug away at it.
Do you tag the images or, chapters of, to say this, give some keywords so?
Oh, sure. Oh, yes,
find it?
absolutely. So you can
Yeah.
search. Yes, you can
Yeah.
put any document in a folder. You can put it in many folders, so that it might be something pertaining to World War I. It also may pertain to some particular family in town. It may pertain, so we can cross-reference it in many ways,
Yeah.
and that's kind of cool. Yeah. So but it's slow work.
Yeah.
And we could use all the help that we have.
Talking about uploading stuff. Do you guys have fiber connection down there or
Yes.
DSL?
Yes, we do. We finally got it. Years last year, they finally hooked us up. Well, they couldn't because the siding was up. So at this point, just a quick update on the building itself. We have all new windows, which were donated by Viking and Matthews. Donated windows, so the whole building has new windows. We refinished the floor downstairs. The kitchen has new countertops because the old ones were not sanitary. So the new countertops are in the new floor. We've got LED lighting downstairs. We're going to have that upstairs. they're gonna work outside as soon as weather turns. They're siding the west wall, which was the worst
New bathroom.
condition. Oh, the bathroom, well, we talked about the walls. So, we're putting that siding on. We hope to get I'd like to see the front painted before June, but I don't know if that's gonna happen, because it still looks crappy from the outside, but inside it's good, and we've got a bathroom that is ADA compliant. It will be, I mean, it is, it opens from the hallway, so as you come in the hallway, there's now a door that goes into the bathroom, so piano in there, we have to develop the piano in the bathroom, but everybody needs a piano. We have one for you. What else? Oh, we're putting a second door on the front. This is there used to be 2 doors. And at some point, they took out one of the doors and put a little window up there, and that is what was the old bathroom. But we're putting the door back, and it's, I guess, more for looks than anything, but it will be an opening door, I mean, real door.
That was totally donated.
It was donated by
Yes.
somebody who just,
Wanted that door back to make the school look like it was originally,
yeah,
so it
so,
was, so they,
and gave us a donation to do it, so that's cool.
they paid for it.
They did,
Yeah.
yeah, they paid for it. So that's happening. We've had a lot of work done outside, thanks to Rosie, who lightened our parking lot quite a bit, had some trees cut and some.
Vines taken off the wires were completely snarled up in bittersweet, and we're working on getting a new sign out front and putting up the big sign.
Yeah.
Changing that, expanding the parking lot, resurfacing the parking lot. We're not gonna do that until a decision is made about the septic.
Oh, yeah, we got a sewer issue, but that's,
It's a sewer issue, but not our sewer system.
it's not, no, we've still got our tank. We have a holding tank out there, which we're gonna just keep as long as we can. But if you know anything about the sewer district, we have to pay anyway, just because we're on the line, so.
So you're not hooked up to the sewer?
No,
district?
we're not.
You don't, nothing forces you to do that to protect the Hillhawk?
Well, we have a holding tank
Yes,
in front.
okay.
It gets pumped.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, it gets pumped. It's
I
not a
see.
septic.
You're not going down, okay.
No, it's
Yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah.
We don't have enough land for that. But
Okay.
the sewer issue is some other completely different.
Plus, we have new siding coming,
Yep,
and,
that was donated to Robbins.
and the roof.
Oh, we got a new roof.
Yeah.
Did I tell you about the roof? They came and did the roof in 3 days.
Wow.
It was unbelievable. They came and then they were gone, and we had a whole new roof. So that's cool.
And the steel beams are up to support it. If you've ever been upstairs and you noticed how it was a little, no place you want to hold a dance.
Tender.
Yeah, but that's all been reinforced, which
That was
was
the first thing we did, was those steel
so,
beams.
so it's coming really, really well on that part. But like Diane said, there are so many other expenses, the websites, and stuff, and the
different-
mailing and stuff.
Yeah, there's just always something.
And we have over 100 and what members now?
300 and something.
300.
Oh my
Thank
gosh.
you, Jane Hardy. Jane Hardy is like a gift. She's up in Arizona right now, but she would be here. She's phenomenal. If you give a $5 donation, you'll get a long personal note. from Jane. Guaranteed.
Got another question for you, Diane.
Yeah.
Follow up on the fiber. Are you guys paying for your fiber? Are you paying a nonprofit rate or anything like that? Are you paying typical business /
We're
residential rate?
paying what Lincolnville
Okay, gotcha.
telephone company charges, like they do.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Question? Have you, in this upgrade of the building, have you done anything with the heating or added cooling or?
Not yet. I mean, it's quite a good furnace, actually. It's almost too much for the building.
Yeah.
So we're, I don't know if that's on the future agenda or not. We've got, sort of phases. So right now, we're in the phase of getting.
You could get heat pumps,
We've talked about it.
and the library would probably supply all the electricity.
Well, we're already getting our electricity from the
Well, you
library.
get it, because
Yeah.
heat pumps are gonna use more,
Yeah.
and they still have they're using a third, you're using a third, and then you've got a third going back to CMP. So if you got heat pumps, I think the library would support your
Yeah,
heating, and
we're
your
aware of that.
oil bill goes away.
Yeah, we're aware of that, and
Okay.
I think that's
And the federal credits and all, well,
on our
I
agenda.
don't know if that applies to nonprofits, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, we do.
And, you know, I went in that building with Jim Dunham quite a while ago, and I had a little infrared attachment to go on my cell phone, and we made movies and looked around. And down where your furnace is, you know, we opened the door, and I'm looking in this IR picture, and it's just glowing hot, coming out of the furnace. It was a bare metal duct pipe before it worked its way up into the building. And it's hot to the touch, so that's just heat radiating off to waste.
Into the cellar.
Yeah, and it's a leaky door, and it's kind of a cellar, outdoor cellar. So that's all going to waste, and if somebody would just wrap some insulation around it, you could capture that heat.
I'll talk to the
Save some
guys
money.
that are working.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, okay.
All right, any other questions on the budget for the Historical Society? All right, thank you so much, Diane.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Diane. Well, Mr. Gary is still here. We're leapfrogging item or two on the list and talk next about cemeteries, and he'll put on his proverbial hat as cemetery trustee chair.
It's a very, very exciting position to be the chair of something that needs a lot of work. There are something like 32, I think, cemeteries in town Lincolnville. We're only responsible for the abandoned ones, and our responsibility is somewhat limited. But I don't know, if you can read in your thing, in your book, I guess, a lot about the different cemeteries.
He's
different
pointing
things.
to the top of page 21.
I'm
in case
sorry,
anybody.
yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah, the request is gone up, and that's because we've had a survey done of all the different cemeteries, Cross, Fletcher, Thomas, Sylvester, and Alma. And if you want to know where these are, I will be glad to try to describe where they are. And the cleaning and the resetting, the repairing of the stones, and the setup. And you say, what's setup? Well, setup is to bring the machinery in, or whatever he needs to do that. Each time, it's a setup cost to do. Every time he has to come in, it has to be set up. So it's definitely a setup cost on that. And these have been, this has been a concern of many of the townspeople for a long time, and we're trying to, the committee is, it's a very good committee, we're trying to move forward and get some stuff done and fixed. And in order to do that, we have our regular maintenance, which in the past has been like $5,500, and I'm going to guess, I'm just going on gut feeling, we might as well figure 6,000 this year for this budget coming up, for that, the regular maintenance. That's the mowing, the raking, the picking up of brush, fallen limbs, da-da-da-da-da. If you've got what?
Flags.
What, flags, yes.
Is that
right.
Memorial Day?
That, yes, that goes under,
Sorry.
I think that goes under Memorial Day, yes. And, yes, it goes under Memorial Day, I'm sorry. And this estimate, what we put up there, it's not covering right now any of the, if any of you have walked into these abandoned cemeteries, you'll notice that these divots, these sunken graves, the graves are sunken. This is just getting the stones back. They're on the ground, a lot of them. They need to be elevated up for now. Some of them have been, we've done that already. And then they need to be, some need to be repaired. And I have a complete estimate, or I guess you do in front of you also here, of where that money and how that money would be spent. And that is to take care of these previous taxpayers of the town of Lincolnville. I'm sure there's more.
That's good. Why don't you give them a chance to pepper you with questions?
Yes. Yes, John?
Yeah, so I'd be a little more comfortable with this amount if families who had ancestors in the ground were kicking in money and the town could match their contributions or something. I'd like to see the families care enough. I'd like to be assured they care enough about this.
Were you at the Heart and Soul thing?
I was there.
Yeah, did you, how many people from Lincolnville had old-time relatives probably buried here were there at that Heart and Soul meeting?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think there was 2 out of 70 people.
And Derek, what about them? Sorry.
What's that?
Why are those, why do you?
Because there's very few people. I mean, sure, there's some DNA. I mean, my DNA goes back into Camden into the 1700s, but I don't turn any money into that because I have no idea who those relatives really are.
Yeah.
So I don't know. A lot of these abandoned cemeteries, they're so distant down the line now. I mean, we're talking 1800s. A lot of these people, some of the newest graves, like 1910, 1915. So those families are lost somewhere in there. It's a good point, John.
Yeah.
But are you, not to mean this to be rude, but in your hometown where your relatives are buried, are you sending money back to them to support that? I mean, that's the kind of thing that I think you're running into.
No,
Yeah, so that's, I don't know if that's a good answer for you, and I don't mean it to be sarcastic or anything, but it's just really hard. See, we don't have, there's only one of these cemeteries that one person has been laid to rest in that. We don't have permission to do that, but in some ways we allowed it. I don't know how else you say that. And that was David Barrows in the Fletcher Cemetery. And that there's nobody buying plots to help support it, is what I'm saying. These are abandoned cemeteries.
Yeah. Okay, well.
And they're abandoned, and when I say abandoned, too, I would say that the families pretty much have abandoned them also. I don't know how else to describe it, John.
Yeah.
Question?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Yeah, so Rosie, is this a project, the whole cleaning project, is this the kind of project that you gotta do it all at once, and if you don't do it all at once, it's gonna cost considerably more?
Yeah, it's even this is gonna take, you're not gonna be able to, nobody's gonna make a full-time job out of this and come down and sit right there and do it, day after day after day. So it's going to be over a period of time.
Okay.
And just take my cushion here. I'm putting a little cushion up here. Whether it take us into consideration or not, just to think, we didn't put up the fence at the Fletcher Cemetery because we felt the town had raised, the town had raised $10,000 to put a fence up at the Fletcher Cemetery. It's not something that that's really practical, because the graves are this close to the road. And to put a fence up there, what kind of fence you gonna put up there? I mean, what are you gonna, what are you gonna do that's gonna be, so we gave the money, we gave the $10,000 back to the town. Just so you know, and so, and this is like an ongoing project, because once the stones are taken care of, then there's the actual graves themselves that need to be leveled up, and that comes in the future, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of work here, a lot of work. And this is just the abandoned cemeteries.
Is there any, like, a priority where you would say this cemetery is bigger?
Yeah, we want to do,
more important than this?
the plan is to start with the Fletcher, which is very visible. It's within 2 feet of the road.
You said David Barrels is there?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's 2 feet, within, I'd say 2 feet of the road. And sometimes I'm not going to make that statement, but somebody say that some of the people are under the road. Part of them are under the road, but I'm not gonna swear to that, but that's how close. So we wanted to start with that one where it's right close to the road, and it is, it's also known, don't ask me, I don't know the answer. Sometimes they call it LaSalle, but I've always known it as Fletcher Cemetery, because that's who's, most of the people are buried in there are Fletchers. So, and I don't know a Fletcher here in the town of Lincolnville. I don't know anybody. I know relatives that are so distant they didn't even know they were related to them. But anyway, I don't want to take up any more time on that.
Yeah.
Kermit.
So looking at your numbers.
Yes.
And looking at what the town has previously given to the cemetery for cemetery maintenance over
Yes.
the last couple of years, it was $6,000 for the last couple of years.
Yes. 5,500. Yep.
But if you add this up, the additional maintenance that you're looking to start doing is well more than $10,000. So where are we gonna pick up the slack on the money for the just basic maintenance over the summer, meaning lawn care, trimming, and things of that nature? Because if I add this up right here, if I add up all of these numbers,
Yeah.
it comes to well over $18,000.
That's right.
And you pretty much use 6 the last couple of years anywhere, each year for basic maintenance. So where's that 6,000 going to come from to do basic maintenance if we're going to appropriate all the money for the well, not even all the money for this new maintenance?
Because the best I could figure, Karen, and I know where you're going, I know what you're saying, is I want to take care of the maintenance, the regular maintenance first. We're going to take it, but I'm only looking to do.
You only have an additional 10,000 to work with.
Right.
And then,
right.
So,
and then next budget,
okay,
we're going to come
back and do more.
That's right.
Okay, I didn't. It's just
No.
it's just that all the cemeteries are listed here,
Yeah.
and
It
the
does.
target is to do-
18,000 something dollars.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. Okay.
But wouldn't it be nice to just see a showing and finally, after all these years since you and I have lived here, we're going to see something done. That some action's going to happen.
Yep.
That's what I mean.
So I obviously, for obvious reasons, there are other cemeteries in the town that are not on this list,
Yes.
which need this work
Desperately.
probably more than ever. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question for
Sure.
David. Is this something that would have to be put out to bid because it's over $8,000?
If it's over the threshold, yes. If it is packaged in pieces, it might be able to fall within the purchasing policy that the board adopted long ago. We try desperately to obtain competitive pricing, if not bids, for work. Some of this stuff is specialized, and there aren't an awful lot of people doing it. But.
So, just to, not that, just to help you a little bit on this. So, we contacted, just for instance, one other firm to ask them to do that, and they said it would be at least 5 years before they could even touch us. Wow. 5 years? Well, that's not, I'm not probably gonna be cemetery trustee.
Well, yes, you
chairman.
Sure you
You know,
are.
and I don't know who the next person, well, no, we vote, every year we vote who the officers are going to be. And you never know, you know, things change, as you all know. And so, I'm not, you know, I want to see this stuff done that's been hanging around for a long time. And some of these people, like the Thomas Cemetery, people don't even know where that is. The Elmo Cemetery, how many people in the room have been to the Elmo Cemetery? Yeah. Did you get permission?
No, I didn't.
You have to have permission to go to some of them.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, yes.
So who would actually be performing the work on this?
Well, right now, as far as I know, right now, Owen has already done some stuff. Owen Cassage, and he's done some of the work. Like elevating something. He's gone in and elevated. We need to get these stones off the ground. Believe it or not, you don't think rocks deteriorate or stones deteriorate, but they do if they're laying. And then it doesn't take long before pretty soon the sod comes up and they're covered over with moss and they disappear. Yes.
You know, when the Historical Society, if they can ever get everything digitized and with keywords and stuff, I don't know if they could if you have a cemetery and it's got a bunch of stones in it and there's no family around, they've all forgotten people, it's sort of more interesting if you know something about the people buried there.
Well,
And so,
if you go to these cemeteries,
yes,
there's a little thing outside,
yeah,
and you take your cell phone,
yeah,
and you
really?
do the thing, and then it tells you everything, all the history that we have, which Colin Sin did all this.
Good.
And so all you do is, you know, it's one of those
QR
barcodes or whatever you want.
Yeah, good.
Just to keep us remotely on track because we've got a little school of other presenters circling out there outside the door.
Just answer questions.
No, it's great to have questions, but let's try to keep them focused on specifically budget-related questions. So Rosie, I guess my last question, and forgive me if I missed this while I was taking a bathroom break. You want to get all of this done in the next fiscal year?
There's no way it's gonna happen.
No.
To get it all, I really don't believe it, no. But
But-
I wanna get as much done as I possibly can.
Okay.
And you've only got a window that you can work at.
Yeah.
You know, you can't really work in the mud, you can't work in the snow, you can't work in the wintertime. So you've only got a little window, and hopefully that works into that person's schedule and their window, so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
And you don't have enough money in the request to fund all the cemeteries
No.
that you
No.
got quoted.
Right. Okay.
We wanna do as much as we can to start with Fletcher.
Great. So last questions on cemeteries before he rolls rapidly into Memorial Day. Careful.
Third time tonight I've done that. All right, so, next on the schedule, still in the municipal support, is Memorial Day, and somehow you're also in charge of Memorial Day.
Really?
Go
Amazing,
quickly.
amazing, how
Quickly.
All right, Kayla, I didn't get back to you. Did you get a hold of Karen to find out what we had decided on?
Yes.
And, okay, so. can you help me out?
It's 250 for Reese.
250?
Yep.
Okay, so that was, yes, all right,
The top part.
all right, great, because I didn't have it on
So
my,
the breakdown is on the top of page 22 of.
yep. And so, and I, like I say, I want to scratch the 150 for the flowers and put that over on the Veterans Park, because that's what it's actually used for on that. The bands, boy, that's gonna be a tough one this year. I know what the Lincolnville band wants, but, the Camden High School, I still have to get that straightened out, but, that has not been straightened out yet, and I'm sorry, I don't have a straight answer. So I did put down 400, and that's it. But the Camden High School sent me a request for 400, and there's no way I can do it.
What was it last year?
0.
Why do they want money now?
New band deal.
Okay, but Rosie, the 15.6%, that's just like inflationary rise plus. That's not,
Yeah,
okay. So you're asking for
then I'm not gonna give it to them.
okay, yeah, but the same event will take place as did last year with a band
Yes,
and wreaths, flowers.
Yes.
And all that.
everything's gonna go.
Right, and just costing 15.6% more. Not
That's
just,
the-
but
yep.
costing.
I have my own opinion on that, and I'm gonna express it, and that is, we pay for school, we send money to the high school, we send money to support the students, da-da-da-da-da. And so, yes, I understand, and they have a budget. And so I think that's a little bit of something on Memorial Day that we get back from the students is to perform at Memorial Day. I don't think there's, and we feed them. We do feed them, because if you look at that, meals, $200.
So that, well, maybe there's a chance for you to do a little bit of negotiating with them.
Yep, no, I've negotiated.
Good.
Other questions for Rosie on Memorial Day?
I guess I'll just ask one more clarifying
Sure.
thing, because I'm just curious, where would the $400 that they're requesting, where would that even go?
I'm not sure.
Since they're a school and it's students.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
They've never given me any other answers at this point in time.
Okay.
And Nancy, who used to be the band leader, to my knowledge, she never asked for a nickel.
Okay.
But that isn't included in, that's not in this number.
No,
It is
well,
in this.
if they ask for some money, I've got some money for them, but the other, it's $250 goes to the Lincolnville band.
Yep.
And if they want, if they really say they need money, the Camden High School band, then we're gonna give them the difference between what I'm asking.
So
Okay.
they get 150.
Yes.
Okay,
And you all have to remember, this budget request is for Memorial Day 2024,
yeah,
not what's coming up here in 3 months.
okay.
Okay.
So, okay, thanks. Thank you so much, Rosie.
All right, guys.
Nice job being in the hot seat for so long.
Have fun.
We got you scheduled
Would you-
at 8:30 too, if you come back.
What's at 8:30?
Would you send
We're gonna be
Kathleen
gone.
and,
You're gonna be the only person, yeah. Clever, you have every member of it.
what's that? I think it lasts next year. Or just give him an hour.
Oh, look at this.
So why is it that I have the most chicken scratch I have is on Rosie? Just because that's Rosie.
Because
It's Rosie, yeah.
that's-
Yeah,
If you didn't,
I'd be insulted.
there would be concern, yeah.
Yeah, right. I understand. Hey, Kathleen.
We've got a tour de force here tonight.
Yes.
Always nice to see.
We have all kinds of new folks.
It's so great. Well, thank you so much for being patient.
Sure. Not a
We,
problem.
we put Rosie in the hot seat in consecutive topics, and
I saw his name on the list twice. And
Yeah.
Rosie likes to talk.
very thorough
Yes.
conversation. Anyway, welcome.
Thank you.
So these are the fine folks from Lincolnville Community Library. Small print, I can't even read it. What they submitted is on the second half, or the bottom half of page 21. And
Jim, that was our submission.
Kathleen Oliver is the library
A board member?
board member on the Lincolnville Community Library. Go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, and thanks for having us to tell you our story. We feel like we're really getting back on track this year after a couple of years of having to severely curtail our services and what we're able to offer the community. And we feel as though we're right back on it now. We continue to receive strong support from the community in both donations and friends memberships. The friends, we send out our annual newsletter to all of the friends, tell them what we're all doing and ask them to support us. And it's really heartwarming how much support we get from our, $20 checks from people up to $500 checks. So it's a terrific response. And we're rebuilding our programming a little at a time. This winter, we've had 2 programs, which we're really excited to be back into. The first one was local author and poet Elizabeth Garber, who spoke about her latest book, and it was sort of a lousy night. So we had some people come, but not as many as we'd like. And then last night, we had Scott Dickerson, whom you all may know, who's just written a novel, and had a really good turnout of about 25 people. So we're back on track with having presentations at the library again. Our art displays are changing again. Right behind the desk, we try to always have something by someone local, and we've just put up a big new beauty. I won't tell you anything about it. You can stop in and see it. It's dramatic and huge. And also the Historical Society put up a new exhibit, some really gorgeous old Valentines from a family in Lincolnville, antique Valentines from the 30s, some of them 3-dimensional, one of them squeaks. But they're planning to change their display every month this year, which we're very excited about because that was something we were hoping for. We always have a little bit of art for sale. I mean, our big display behind the desk is quietly for sale. We have another piece in the library that's for sale that you may have not noticed, but it's by another local artist, Stefan Pastuhoff, who's up on Wentworth Road. Very, very talented. And it's a painting of Lincolnville Center before the store was renovated. And it's really beautiful, really worth taking a look at. And the day that painting sales, he's going to donate half the proceeds to the library. So that's something we're hoping to do. Big changes this year at the library for us, not anything really visible to all of you, but we have some new board members. First of all, we have a new director. This is Chris Landy.
Hello.
Welcome, Chris.
And we're very excited to have Chris with us. Chris has experience as a teacher in librarianship, in boating, home remodeling. She's a grandmother. She just has all of these world skills she's bringing to us, and we're really excited to have her. And we also have Linda Lillywhite, who is now serving on the board and is also our bookkeeper. We're so thrilled to say. And then we have Jim Sweet on the board, who is our new treasurer. And I can't tell you how thrilled we are about that. And so we've told you what we would like, shown you our budget for the year, and mostly we just want to get your questions about that, and hopefully Jim can answer any questions that you have.
And if I can't, I'll get you answers.
Questions?
I'll go first.
Sure.
Your projected income for this year is gonna be 24,540. How
Yes.
does that stack up against your income from last year?
From last year,
I think it's 2,000 more, isn't it?
it's a little more. We had, yes, it's a little bit more. I can get you, let's see, where's my?
Is this last year?
No,
That's this year.
I have last year's here. No, it's a little more than that. So we had a pretty good year with revenues. We actually, last year, we had a relatively large donation that we're spreading out over multiple years. So if you were to take that off, it was about 20,000 rounded. So.
Other questions for the folks from the library who patiently waited and brought the.
We're happy to do it.
No, I'd like to say some things just about, in general, about the spending. So we gave you the budget. So just so you know, about 65%, so 2/3 of our budget is non-discretionary. We have to spend it. So we have to provide 12 hours per day.
Per week.
12 hours per week, that's right, 12 hours per week. And that's about $16,000. I rounded $16,000. It's not only that, that includes insurance. We have to have insurance. We have some taxes with regards to the employee. So those are things the state requires for us to be able to be a main state library and get all the benefits of said agreement. So, which includes free internet, which includes access to several different sources.
All kinds of access online to books and magazines and statistics that you would not be able to have. So our email is part of the main state libraries.
So another category we have is maintaining buildings, grounds, equipment. That's non-discretionary too, but you can plan that. I mean, it's the same thing you go through with regards to structures and things like that. And this year, for example, we're trying to plan. We have, because of the way the water flows over the property, one of the parking spots, disabled parking spot, actually floods up. It's very muddy, so we're trying to find a way to do that, and that could cost in the thousands. We're not sure yet. We're going to try to get somebody to come and take a look at it, but that's one of the things we're looking at. So there are buildings and grounds, and the other things are discretionary things we don't necessarily have to buy books. We don't have to buy. We do a tremendous job of buying books and rotating nearly 5,000 books in the library. So that's quite a bit for a small library. And I know Sheila did a fantastic job, and I'm sure Christine will do. So.
And we still have a lot of folks in town who donate their books to us, especially the brand new ones that they've just read and are done with, and those are the ones we love the best. So, we still get a lot of volunteer hours in the library, and Chris is looking to expand the numbers of volunteers to bring it back to the hours that we had before the pandemic hit us, so that we can get more done.
In addition, the library lately has been providing support to the digital literacy program. We're working with them to see about supporting. We have several computers that people come in and can use the internet for free. So we provide that service. And as you heard before, I think overheard when the door was still open, that we provide help provide the power for I think they pay about $120 a year to us for service fees. But you still, even if you have solar, you have to have service. So, let's see. Oh, and the Heart and Soul's meeting there now. They were told that it's a perfect size to do that. So we're supporting the town that way by providing a space to be able to come in and meet. Well, those are relatively new things.
Programs.
Yes.
Start bringing children's programs back in and more adult evening programs and activities, reading groups this summer.
Wonderful.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Kurt's got a
Oh,
question.
you do?
I got a question.
I'm sorry.
Kurt, you go first this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
On your revenue side for 2023,
Yes.
if you go down through there, it says town $3,000. What's that for?
That's our request.
That was our request. So we
Oh,
built
it's not the
actual. No. No, this,
Are any of
this
these
is
others
for,
actuals?
this was for, no, those are the budget for, that we provided. We provided the budget, projected budget. So for this year, so we projected that we were optimistic that we would receive that. And again, if we don't receive that, then we have to adjust the expenses side.
Yeah.
Or we have to go in to find more donations some way, shape, or form. The revenue side. Thank you. Yes.
Jim, you mentioned that the library might have plans to work with the broadband committee, formerly known as broadband committee, digital literacy committee now?
Digital
equity.
Thank you, digital equity committee now,
Yeah.
on the digital literacy program. So you have plans for that?
Well, we're still talking about, right? We're still talking with them about actually what we can and can't do. There's some of it require additional costs on our side that we're not sure that we can.
Yeah, no, I don't want to delve into your plans. I just didn't know if there's a budgetary tie-in with one of our other committees,
Right.
something like that.
Well, we're interested in supporting
Yes.
that. Obviously, I mean, technology is,
Key.
the library is technology now. Books are just another aspect of what we do. And so we're very keen on working with that committee. We didn't feel we were able to take on some of the tasks that were being discussed because we don't have the staff to manage them. And we're not open to hours that might be required for that. But in theory, and we would like to support as much as we can with what we
Yes.
have.
Yeah, thanks.
And that's why we have several computers people come in and use. They come in and search for jobs, do job searches in the library. They'll come in and ask questions. We quite often, the director will, Sheila was telling me she'd always have people coming in and she'd help them use the computer, so, and access the information they desire.
We just can't let them check them out.
Yeah,
because
it can.
we don't have enough to go around.
They're not disposable. Thanks.
Yes, sure.
Other questions for Lincolnville Community Library? Or we'll send them out with our thanks, or you're welcome to stay, just move to other seats so we can. No.
I think there's some other folks chomping at the
Yes,
bit
there
out
are.
there.
That's all right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
Very much.
Thank you.
Next up will be the McGonagall Watershed Association.
Page 20.
Yep. I'll get Aaron.
Kathleen. Oh, is this yours or is this yours?
No, this belongs to.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Aaron, you're the winner, Dan, you're on deck, so to speak. You're welcome to come in and sit down.
That's a nice copy what you sent me,
All
so.
right. You want me to read that? wants me to read that.
Yeah, well, me too. So, Aaron Bailey, are you still the executive
I
director?
still am for.
The executive director of the McGonagall Watershed Association, along with a few other things, is here to explain their request, and if you somehow can make the clock spin backwards, we'll be on time when you're done.
Any questions?
Yeah.
Just really quickly, we're asking for $3,800. The watershed performs the water testing in and around the pond and McGonagall Lake. We do it once a week in the summer. I think this past year, we found 3 high tests by Drake's Bridge. But what happens if we get a high test is we immediately test again the next day, and it usually comes up clean. We had no rain this summer, so it was expected that some of the tests would be high. But we offer that service. We also have the full-time, or the lake warden, which I am currently that as well, but there will be probably a part-time lake warden, part-time executive director. And they service both the lake and the pond. We help put in the buoys and take out your swim buoys, and we help move the dock, the swim dock, and the other dock in and out. So we assist with that. The lake patrol officer also patrols the roads around the pond in the winter, whether we haven't had any ice, so the snowmobile didn't go very far this year, but we offer that service as well. So we also do the milfoil. The association hires, I had 4 kids this past summer, where we do boat inspections, watercraft inspections down here at Breezemere Park, and the 2 ramps on the lake. And this year we had a great number. We were able to get the kids. We didn't have a rainy day. We did not have one rainy weekend. So my kids were up here almost every weekend, not for the whole weekend, but I did as much as they could, as much as we could afford, because it was a larger drain this year without having any rain.
Cool.
Great.
Any questions?
So how do you get your authority? Under the state,
So the lake warden is strictly, now they're not, it's not a sworn position anymore. It was years ago. It was a sworn sheriff, Lincolnville constable, Knox County deputy, Camden PD. But the logistics nowadays are not. So don't tell anybody, because I still think there's a lot of people out there who don't have any idea. But the lake warden is not a sworn position. However, we do stop, we can stop people. We do stop people as a courtesy and talk about life jackets, or if I had $1 for every paddleboard, if someone out here with a life jacket this year, we'd probably be rich. But so we still do that. We can still stop boats, and if there's an issue, then we call the local police department but we knock on wood.
Are you like a nonprofit?
We're a nonprofit. Yeah,
Okay.
McGonagall Watershed's a nonprofit. Yep. So we, most of our money comes from our membership, our donations and membership. And we service Moody Pond. So McGonagall Watershed's 32 square miles. It's not just the pond, the lake, and McGonagall River. It's the 32 square miles around us where the water comes into. So Levin Cellar and Moody Pond are also part of the watershed.
Other questions for Aaron?
Apologies for making you wait longer for the presentation.
I think it was just a short last year. That's fine. We're good. We're good.
It's always appreciative to put a face to the organization, et cetera.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
I expect probably everybody here appreciates what you do, right?
Absolutely.
We all know it's important.
Yeah, the watershed has been around for a long time, and it really truly is a benefit for both the lake and the ponds to have someone around.
Yeah.
So, although it takes a lot longer to get from one end to the other now. With all the no-wake zones, it's not like when I was a kid. It didn't take long at all. Didn't take long at all when we were a kid to get from one end to the other.
It was a quick ride.
It was a quick ride. It's not anymore, but
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so
You're
much.
good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome
you very
to
much.
stay if you want, but I see you're running
I
away.
mean, it's riveting stuff.
I know.
So next,
Thanks.
thank you. Next on our list is the Lincolnville. You can stay there, Dan, or you can come right over here, whatever you're more comfortable with. Dan Leary is the president of the Lincolnville Improvement Association. That is the Lincolnville Improvement Association, a number of years ago, received some contribution from the town. They haven't for a couple of years. They've come back with requests And the detail is at the bottom of page 22.
Well, first of all, thank you for considering our request, and thank you for the time to chat about it. I'm going into my third season with the Lincolnville Improvement Association. And coincidentally, today, I'm celebrating my 63rd birthday.
Today?
Today.
Happy birthday.
Well, happy birthday.
Okay, bring the reason. Sorry.
The reason I bring that up is that at 63, I kind of represent the youth group at the Lincolnville Improvement Association. Thus goes to the guts of my request. Our group has been involved with Lincolnville since the 1940s, and we've done a lot of different scholarships, beautification, lots of different programs. But we have a demographic challenge. And one of the things, and I think we're going to address that challenge in two different ways. One is something we can fully under our control, which is the programs that we do and the causes we get behind, and can we target these towards causes and programs that are kind of more attractive to a younger demographic. But the second thing, which really goes to the heart of our request, is we have to communicate with this group in where and how they communicate, which is really online. And we have a very little online presence. And from online, I don't mean just having a website, but being able to gain membership online, to be able to communicate, to participate in programs, to be able to raise funds, not only through like send your check in, but through a MasterCard and PayPal and Venmo and things that this demographic typically uses. So we're kind of going from virtually nothing to wanting to establish an online presence. I've requested $2,000 this year. It's probably the overall bill will be somewhere around $6,000 from the estimates that I've gotten. I got somewhat of a technical background myself, so I kind of understand it. And we want to make sure, especially when you're dealing with funds, that things are secure and safe, and things like identities and all that kind of stuff. So that's really kind of what we believe this tranche of funds would go towards. And the other thing that this is going to help us do is to kind of reach out further from our current base of membership, not only to a different demographic, but to a broader audience in Lincolnville. During last year, we made a concerted effort to expand, I think, a reputation that the Lincolnville Improvement Association might be somewhat beach-centric. And so we've conducted our meetings out at the Grange, also at the school and other places, and we're kind of reaching out to a broader community. So hopefully our online presence will be able to not only get to a demographic audience, but also a broader audience inside of Lincolnville. So that's what I ask for consideration. Without taking up too much time, I'll just stop there and see if you have any questions or comments or something I could ask.
I've got a question or comment, not to jump the shark here, but you listed in your request that you did the benches at the beach this past year, of which we were appreciative. However, it might have been nice to know.
Well, that is, so just to comment on that, David, is that the benches were just done kind of over the course of like November, December timeframe. And we're going to be announcing that, and we'll do that through the Lincolnville, through the bulletin board and other ways to let people know. And that was that's interesting. It has some history to it from the Boy Scouts originally did that.
Yes, when Kurt, the thing that also jumps off the page, I'm thanking you for one and saying you've mentioned that you're looking at possibly rebuilding the trash cans.
They are being rebuilt, yes.
Which our vendor who picks up out of the trash asked us to purchase new ones, which we budgeted for. So once again, the communication would be,
We should touch base on what is considered town-owned infrastructure, so that we're not double dipping in the budget.
Right.
Because we had a lengthy conversation about really nice trash receptacles last night.
I had to read about those. I'm serious.
the reasons why we were going after the reasons why we were including the trash receptacles was originally those were done by the Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and so Rob and Dorothy Newcomb, you know, their son was an Eagle Scout at the time. And so Rob, you know, jumped in the middle of this, and we were able to fund the materials and things of that nature. And Rob and a few other people got involved and said, let's rehab both of them at the same time. So we'll put a whole story together and announce that, you know, probably April timeframe.
If you would, at another point in time, schedule a time to talk with our town administrator so we can straighten out aspects of the budget, care, et cetera.
We'll do that. Yeah.
Awesome.
I could do that. I could do that. Is that, are you aware of any other potential conflicts we have, or?
No, it's just, it's good before any organization or anyone takes on a project that is owned by the town. We wouldn't want you to pave the streets without letting us know.
I got you. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. That was-
Communication is key.
Very good point.
Basically just boils down to, let's talk.
That is no problem. And that's purely, that's on me, because I was, I thought this was just something that was.
Right.
Was there.
Volunteered.
Yeah.
It was. I
Yeah.
mean, the original effort, as you said, was Kurt Newcomb's
Right.
Eagle Scout project
I would be happy.
with
to
a
do
donation
that.
to the town.
Athletic.
And it's all good. Just, we don't want to hire somebody to do something you volunteered to do.
I will happy.
And vice versa.
More than happy to do that, and if I knew it was rid of that, I would have done it.
Yep.
But I will say that the enthusiasm that you're projecting and the plans are all really very inspirational.
Appreciate
So
it.
thank you for sharing those with us.
Yes.
Yes, Karen, yeah.
So with that being said, the ask is $2,000.
Yes.
And listening to you, is that enough?
No, but I think that we're gonna be able to.
But he
within
asked
our-
for it, so.
Within our own fundraising and whatnot, we're gonna be able to complement that and make that work. So, that's why if we get $2,000, that'd be a great step in the right direction. And, you know, we do the wing ding every year, the pancake breakfast, and we're trying to plan on building some fundraising around that. You know, really part of this whole thing is we really want to reach out beyond the Lincolnville town lines and attract funds from outside the town, kind of make the pie bigger. And that's really kind of like where we're sitting there going, gee, if we make the pie bigger, we're going to do more things with more groups and things like that.
Well, I know the wingding thing there, that was talked about at great length in Canada.
Oh, really?
It was very successful, yeah. You
It's,
like that idea?
I just, you know, with the group, and I don't have to take any credit for it, with our group that does that, I've always, I would say, I was like, you know, it's gone from an event to a tradition.
It
You know, we can do a tradition, and part of this youth movement that I'm talking about here, the different demographic, is the people who are doing that now. But God bless her heart, Lee Cronin, who was the member of the year, or your person of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's a godsend, and it's kind of like, wow, who's gonna take her spot? You know, who's gonna do that? And and those times are coming, so I'm sitting there going, man, it's gotta be, you know, who's gonna do it the next 30 years? And it's not me. So, you know, anyway.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, folks.
Any other
Appreciate you.
questions?
Any questions, comments?
Thank you so much.
Oh, I
Thanks for
appreciate it.
coming, too.
Take care.
All right, next up, getting us right back on schedule is general assistance, and the general assistance administrator has patiently waited for a meeting and a half. And Kayla, you're up. And that's broken down on page 22.
So if you've seen what I've expended so far this year of the $4,464, we've had a considerably more number of requests this year than we have in previous years. I will be getting 70% of that reimbursed. So I am looking at getting about $3,000 reimbursed from the state. But there is a few things that's gone into this year. which is why I do have the increase to the 6,280. The state has changed some of their regulations in regards to general assistance. So with housing being such a shortage for a lot of people, if somebody finds temporary housing, like I think I don't know if a lot of people know, the Black Horse Inn is currently used as like temporary housing for people where they rent a room at a weekly rate or a daily rate. And the general assistance has now told me that the first month that they're there, I'm supposed to cover the full amount, which is considerably more than what the maximums normally are. There are income maximums for the program. And then after that, I can just pay the maximum for a one room. So that is costing a lot more with having to provide the temporary housing. If it's not here, there are many different hotels doing the same type of thing. I don't know if a lot of people have heard of the emergency rent assistance. That it was a lot of COVID funds that were given to the state, to Maine Housing Authority. Maine Housing Authority was running a program, and to the point where in some cases they're paying $6,000 for one adult to live in a hotel.
Right.
Then all of a sudden they ran out of money and didn't have any more funds. So they didn't even, in some of the meetings I've gone to, they didn't even have enough to pay all of the obligations they had out there. I think the governor's fixed that now, but it put a lot of strain on a lot of different people. Also, heating costs. Normally when I provide heating, it's 100 gallons, which when it was $5, and that's $500, or a lot of people that need assistance have to have K1, which we're looking at $6.50, and that buys them about 25 days in the super cold. So that's why the increase. Hopefully I won't need it. It slowed down a little bit. It got really busy around Christmas time into December when it got really cold and stuff. But
Questions for Kayla?
Yeah, I guess. Do you guys anticipate any money coming in from the state with new legislation at all? Are you keeping an eye on what might
I
happen?
know that they have a few things out there in regards to increasing, I think, the reimbursement to maybe 90% or something.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, there are some things out there. A lot of the things that they're looking to do help more the bigger cities. Like I went to like a general assistance class in Portland, in South Portland, where I think they said they pay like $6 million a month in general assistance. So what we do is pretty small comparative to some of the bigger ones, and how they run and their staff that they need. I mean, it's primarily just me and Karen in some cases, so.
Okay, yeah, I just didn't know, yeah. Yeah, I know in southern Maine, those cities are doing battle with each other. Neighboring towns are spending a lot of time arguing about who's paying for what.
And one of the things that I don't know if Kaylee touched on while I was in the room is general assistance is a state program that's locally administered, and it is one of the very few budget items that if we don't have enough money, we can overspend. Not that we choose to, but it's an obligation of the town to do the program. So just so you know.
So what percentage of that will we get?
Right now, the reimbursement's 70%.
So
So what becomes of that money when it comes back? And how's that interact with your budget?
So we put it in the budget as in it, that if they don't, well, it's a couple different ways to look at it. You could look at it where it's if they're not reimbursing us at all, because they could say they do 70, they could come back and do an audit and be like, we don't think you should have covered that, it's on you. Right. So that, or if we do get the reimbursement, that potentially gives me more to spend if I'm getting the request. So kind of two ways.
It kind of rolls, if we get it back.
Yeah, I mean, in most cases we do. We haven't had an audit since I've been here. You know, most cases, especially right now, things seem to be do what you think is best for the person that's in front of you. But
so I know the percentage, it says 31% change, but is that enough? Considering how things have been going and, you know, the fluctuation in pricing and, you know, more and more people are having just astronomical problems.
With getting the reimbursement, the fact that we do have the ability to overspend it if we need to, luckily the requests have slowed down recently, we're almost out of winter, maybe.
Yeah.
So I think that will be enough of an increase. I haven't increased it since I've been here. And I think there was one year that I had maybe one person come. So, and that was a few, so I think we're okay, but we do always have the ability that we can overspend it. So I don't wanna ask for a lot more and then not need it, so.
Thank you, Kate.
I had a question.
Yeah.
So you said housing, we have to spend, what, 3,000 a month, you said, or?
Well, no, so if they're considered homeless, and they find temporary housing that kind of fits, they wanna, and it's considered an emergency because they're homeless, then they want us to expend what it would be for that first month for them to be in that temporary housing.
Okay.
So if that's, let's say that's the Black Horse Inn, I think that's around 1,300 for them to be in for a month, which is normally more than the maximum for, let's say it's a single adult,
Okay.
which is more than what the normal single adult amount I would spend is, but because it's an emergency and they're considered homeless, the following month I would only do the maximum for that single adult.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Kayla.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, now we're gonna clean up the things that people haven't talked about on the municipal support on page 20 still. We've talked about Historical Society, Watershed, Cemetery, Community Library, Memorial Day, GA. Moderator, we pay a moderator at town meeting a small stipend, $75. We budget for 3 of those a year. That's been pretty traditional for a number of years, that cost. Ballot clerks, we're proposing a slight increase in the request for ballot clerks, primarily due to the fact that we're going to have an extra election in this coming year. We're going to be doing a primary election in March of 2024. Another election means another day for ballot clerks. Registrar of voters is just the expenses associated with doing voter registration. Any questions on any of those? Seeing nobody jumping right up. The budget may say, or the schedule may say, provider agency is going to be talked about by Kayla, but I'm going to jump it and say, Budget committee's working on provider agencies. Budget committee gets the first crack at a recommendation, and then your recommendations will be forwarded to the selectmen for their recommendations. So we won't spend any time tonight talking about provider agencies.
Okay.
Unless somebody really feels
Catching up.
compelled need. Sorry, Kayla, I just cut you off to pass on that one. Capital improvement program, which is page 24. We're proposing a slight reduction in the capital improvement program based on our anticipated needs. We have 4 items that we budgeted for this year. The fire truck fund, we're proposing a $5,000 increase to that. And as we mentioned last night when the chief was here, we have 4 primary firefighting vehicles. We replace one every 7.5 years, so we keep it 30 years. Rest pretty assured that the next fire truck we buy isn't going to be less expensive than any fire truck we've ever purchased in the past. So we've asked for a little bit additional funds. I believe, with one exception, the fire truck fund has been at $20,000 for the 20 years I've been here.
Whoa.
Wow.
And one exception is one year the then Board of Selectmen put it down to $10,000. It was the first year we had the LB1 property tax cap measure to try to get it, and nobody ever heard the end of that. And I was told by a then Board of Selectmen member who's no longer on the board, don't let us do that again. So anyhow.
Basically, that's just gonna add $35,000 to the purchase price.
Yes. Yeah, and we're very fortunate. The town also receives donations from the Lincolnville Community Foundation, which they designate money for that we put in, well, we put it where they tell us to, but typically they make a substantial donation towards the fire truck fund. Fire trucks are not inexpensive, suffice to say.
Probably not. Do we expect to continue receiving donations from that fund in perpetuity?
I believe if they do well with their investments, we'll continue to receive benefit from it. Our investments in the past year haven't yielded a whole lot of return, and we've been told that when they disperse their next round, we should not plan on getting large contributions because their returns haven't been quite as good as they'd hoped. Road Improvement Fund, we've upped that from $135,000 to $150,000. We are now out to bid with a project on the Townhouse Road, which is our bigger drainage structure that will be constructed so that the road doesn't wash away again like it has twice in the past year. And we have applied for a grant through the Maine Department of Environmental Protection. That's going to be a Stream Smart installation. So it'll have a natural bottom and a bigger structure to allow for appropriate fish, not just fish, but aquatic animals or any animal that wants to pass through. There's really quite a science to it. It's interesting to see people in the know place rocks in a certain way and angle them. And it's like, wow. Similar to what we did on Slab City Road 5 or 6 years ago. The other thing that we're working towards, this road improvement, town has about 8.4 miles of gravel road and 26 miles of paved road. The idea behind this fund is to work to improve the standards of those roads. And the next road that's on our reconstruction list, last year or in the current year, we've budgeted some monies for engineering on Calderwood Road. Don't go up Calderwood Road tomorrow. That's our most, we have a number of our 8.4 miles of roads are challenging, but Calderwood's probably the most. Other requests this year are for our revaluation. We talked about this last year for anybody that was here. Our assessor's agent will be retiring June 30th, 2025, or earlier if we'll let him. I probably said that last night too. We've engaged, or the Board of Assessors and Board of Selectmen, one and the same, have engaged a firm to do a revaluation that will be in place for the tax bills that will go out in August of 2025. That project, the agreement is for $215,000. We raised $100,000 last year, and we're proposing to raise $100,000 this year, and the balance in 2025. We anticipate that later in this upcoming budget year, they'll commence with their inspection work of properties. And then finally on the bands, the final request this year in the capital improvement program is for bandstand, which is at Breezemere Park. In the current year, we budgeted $25,000 to re-roof it, and we cut funds that were requested to restain it, clean it and restain it. We put those back in this coming year. It's been since 2008 since that was last stained, and it's ready to go. It's ready to be stained.
What does athletic infrastructure mean?
That was the drainage project.
Yeah.
No, athletic,
courts.
that was the tennis court resurfacing, sorry.
The drainage and the tennis courts.
We raised that amount to 5750, 3 years, and then we had the special town meeting to make up the difference of the quote we got.
And the technology upgrade was the
Server.
and any appropriate equipment that needed to go with it.
Any other questions?
The money we voted to spend, for the tennis courts to make up the difference.
Yep.
That was coming out of some, I don't know, state or federal money?
No,
And there
yeah.
should be still a little over 100,000 left there, right?
Well, we're almost to that page, John.
Oh, you are, okay.
But yes.
I read it.
Coming up.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other question on what we funded in the past or what we propose to fund for the upcoming year? No.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to turn the page.
Well, sorry,
Whoops.
one more question.
Yeah.
Well,
You don't have to.
maybe she knows the answer already, but the folks on Tanglewood Road,
Yes.
yeah, they're trying to Jim and Cindy are trying to organize a little bit and see what their interest is to do more maintenance on the road, and they were wondering if the town had any plans for maintenance of Tanglewood Road or just nothing yet.
All of our roads, all 8.4 miles of gravel road and all 26 miles of paved road, we have a statutory obligation to maintain in a safe, so it's safe and convenient for travel.
Yeah.
No one has, to the best of my knowledge, ever defined what is safe and convenient for travel. However, so that's our goal.
Depends on what you drive.
Right, and when you drive it, and what your expectations are, and the current plan, as set forth in this budget and as set forth in the other budgets, is to maintain our roads in a safe and convenient manner. We're not proposing in the upcoming year to do anything different to Tanglewood Road than we've done to Tanglewood Road in the last 4 or 5 years. Basically, plow it, sand it when necessary, grade it a couple times a year, and make sure that ditches are open and the roadside mowing gets done so that vegetation doesn't overtake the road. At some point, whether it be Tanglewood Road or any other road in town, if we were to do something or propose something, you'd see it right in this budget in February of some year. But that's the current plan. Maintain what we have as best we can.
Yep.
Okay? All right, I'm going to turn the page to 25, and then I'm going to give you some real good news on page 25. So, this is debt service. The monies that the voters approved borrowing in 2018, will be paid off in fiscal year 2024. Hooray.
2008,
Yeah.
not 18.
Sorry, 2008. The town borrowed $850,000 to reconstruct Broadus Road, Heather Hill Road, part of Thurlow Road, part of Tuckerbrook Road, and I'm going to pay it off. There's no monies budgeted for, we've made equal payments on the principal of $56,667 on that. There's no money budgeted for road interest, road bond interest. We're gonna, conceivably, we're paying interest to borrow that, or have paid interest to borrow that money. In 2015, the bonds were reissued, lowered our interest rate. We got a credit that's been applied since 2015 moving forward. The credit for the last payment miraculously equals the debt, the interest amount that we were going to have to pay. That's why there's a zero under interest. The Lincolnville Sewer District, 2018, the town voted to enter into an agreement with the sewer district that once they completed their project, we would pay $19,000 a year for 10 years to assist them in their debt service until they were completely up and running. We've made payment 1. This will be payment 2. We'll talk about it for the next 8 years. Unless we pay it off early, which we can, but why would we? Any questions on debt service?
All right.
Overall, we touched just briefly about it last night. The only other, debt the town has incurred itself is for the school. That's in the school budget.
There's a place, yeah.
That leads us to page 26, which is revenues and budget offsets. This is where other monies that come into the town are applied to reduce the amount of money that we ask the property taxpayers for. Boat excise, I touched on this briefly at the start of last night. A number of these items are unestablished at this moment. We're waiting for legislative action. So they may be the same number. Some of them we don't have our own audit done yet, so we're waiting for that number so we can talk about fund balance, but we'll talk briefly about these. Boat excise, when you come register your boat, you pay excise tax. That money stays here in town. I just saw the TV flicker in my eye. Don't know what's going on. Vehicle excise, when you pay your vehicle excise tax, when you register your car, the excise tax portion stays here in town. We use that money to reduce the property tax burden. Local road assistance comes to us from the state of Maine. It's on a per mile basis and subject to legislative action, let's put it that way. We've budgeted the same amount for the coming year that what we've received in the current year. Should an estimate be forthcoming from the state that changes that number may change in this. Or let me rephrase that. If some better information comes forward from the state, you will see a change in this, in that line. Fund balance, again, we budgeted the same amount of what we've used in the current year. Any monies that are not expended from the items that you've seen tonight, assuming town meeting approves those, any monies that aren't expended that we don't have the voter permission to carry forward get rolled into unassigned fund balance. So if administration is $600,000 and we spend $550,000, $50,000 goes into what's called the unassigned fund balance, and it's available only for use as the voters approve. It doesn't become discretionary to the selectmen to spend it any way they wish. Have to go back. It's our money, all of our money, so we have to go back and ask us how we want to spend that money. Municipal revenue sharing comes to us from the state of Maine. The governor, in her budget address on Tuesday, said that the budget includes the statutory requirement, or required amount. It's a certain percentage of sales and income tax. And they have the revenue forecasting committee, or what, I think that's what they're called. They make projections of what that'll be. The state treasurer then applies it to the formula. And about the middle of March, just about the time the selectmen will be approving their recommendations, is when the treasurer usually puts out the projected revenue sharing. So for the time being, we've budgeted what is that different? what we budgeted is what they projected for FY '23 for our total. That's why that's different. Harbor fees and donations. Our harbor users pay fees for certain uses down there. Moorings, commercial pier use. The town of Islesboro sends us a donation on an annual basis. And we've chosen to budget $10,000 for about the last, Art was on the board and made that 6 years or so. Wastewater treatment facility capital reserve has gone to zero because we no longer have it. Last year, we appropriated $19,000 from it to pay the first debt service cost to the sewer district, and then the remainder rolled into unassigned fund balance. American Rescue Plan Act, ATM, means annual town meeting. Last year, we appropriated $117,550 from that at the annual town meeting. We also appropriated back in January $11,941. STM stands for Special Town Meeting, which reduced how much money we had available to it. And currently, the budget is proposing to expend the last of the American Rescue Plan Act monies, $105,883. And that brings our total revenues and budget offsets, which again is, I suspect, will be subject to change between now and when the budget is finalized, but projected at $1,762,974. And I certainly would entertain some questions or whatever you wish to speak about. And when you look, the net to be raised, and it says in bold at the bottom, 34.07%. It does not mean that the property taxes are going up 34.07%.
I mean, my excise taxes?
No, your excise tax is based on the sticker price of the car times whatever rate for however old it is. That number is 34% of roughly 12% of your property tax bill. So.
The rest being out of our control, school,
Well,
county.
it's not out of our control, but out of
Not
this room.
out of this venue.
Right.
Yes. Any questions on?
No. 2 nights of budget.
All right.
Dave Kinney talking.
And we're ahead of schedule. Look at this.
What I would like to close with, and I think I closed with last night, is if you have some questions as you move forward in this, we're more than happy to either give you an answer or find you the answer. Don't just wonder and not feel good about it. It's, we've got backup upon backup of information. And the current schedule would be that the board of the select board, there, I did better that time. The select board will be deliberating on the budget now that you've heard all the requests at their next meeting, which will be 27, with the goal of having the budget recommendations approved at their meeting on the 13th of March. So there may, depending on how many questions they have and what more information they need, they may even have to sneak in another meeting. Maybe, maybe not. It's been a couple of years since we've had to do that. And then it'll be back to the budget committee with more information and new numbers. I'll stop and say thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you all for your questions. And if there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Yeah, I have a question too.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Nope, I don't know, we're not gonna second.
Oh, you were gonna second.
If only you were on the Board of Select.
No.
Do we have a second?
Well, John, did you have a question?
Yeah, just real
Oh,
quick.
yeah,
I just
okay.
thought the LIA, their idea to rebuild those trash can holders, and we had a pretty, sticker shock for those.
Mm.
Do you think, is one possible outcome, they would, if they have a good plan, that they could just take that on with your blessing, or?
I think we'll want to look at those enclosures. Those enclosures have been patched and repatched and changed over the last 20 years since they've been there. And it may be something that a rebuild won't be appropriate for, but maybe a build might be appropriate, maybe they'd be willing to do it. So we'll have to pursue some.
Yeah, he'll talk to you.
Getting on the same page will be good first,
Yes.
and then we'll
Yeah.
have an answer.
Yes.
Talk to each other first.
Yeah. So we had a motion and a second,
Yeah.
and was there further discussion or questions? Thank you again, everybody else, all those in favor. Thank you so much, and thank you for coming and participating.